With me now is Joe Moreno, former Republican strategist and former federal prosecutor at the US Department of Justice. There is a lot to talk about today, and it's great to have you with us in London, Joe. Good to see you. Before we get on to what's happening in Oregon, can I ask you about the staring contest we're seeing in Congress right now? Less than 48 hours to go before we see a government shutdown. Positions appear to be hardening, it seems. Who's going to blink first?
Interesting, because it's almost always reversed. It's almost always the Republicans for the last few decades that are the ones controlling Congress at a specific time, threatening a government shutdown. So it's unusual to see it flipped, where it's the Democrats in Congress that are threatening this. Democrats will blink first. I mean, they are the party of the government worker. They are the party of large government. And President Trump has threatened that if a government shutdown happens, he will use it as an excuse to fire government employees, which is exactly what he wants, right? All of the Doge, Elon Musk kind of cost-cutting stuff. So I don't see Democrats actually following through on this threat.
But we've heard Schumer saying on Meet the Press yesterday, we want a proper negotiation here. We don't want Donald Trump coming into the office. There's going to be meetings today, ranting and raving, accusing us of all sorts of things, and has alleged grievances. Do you see that serious negotiation happening today? I mean, what's the dynamic?
I'd like to say yes, but no. The dynamic is not one where you see people really coming together in good faith right now and sitting down and negotiating. It's really, like you say, it's a staring contest. It's playing chicken. Who blinks first? And again, I cannot imagine that the Democrats, even though they have to look like they're doing something and they're fighting, I can't imagine they're actually going to want to let this happen.
Okay. Now to Oregon. Once again, the National Guard being deployed once again. The Democrat governor, people saying, we don't want this. We're not calling for this. Why is President Trump still insisting on deploying the National Guard to states where they are not welcome?
He wants to look tough, right? And the Oregon governor, I understand she has to make it look like she's pushing back, but Oregon is part of the 9th Judicial Circuit, which is like California. And the 9th Circuit has already allowed President Trump to deploy the Guard in California, in Los Angeles. So a lawsuit's not going to do anything. As far as the Guard's deploying, though, in the United States, it's getting harder to defend. I think it's one thing when it was Los Angeles, when there was a very specific purpose, which was to allow immigration to do its job. Then there was Washington, D.C., which is a sort of a unique federal district, and the president has the power to do that. Now it's starting to look kind of gimmicky. Like now the president...
And it's a bit like a vendetta against these Democrat-led states.
It does. It's Memphis, it's Chicago, now it's Portland. And, there's kind of two issues the way I see it. One is it feeds into this narrative that Donald Trump is this tyrant, fascist, dictator type, which even though it's legal, it's a terrible look, really, to have U.S. soldiers routinely deployed in the country.
I mean, this is not their job. We should make it clear to people. The National Guard are not there to be put on the streets.
That's absolutely right. Look, I served in the Army for over 20 years. I can tell you, we are not trained in non-lethal combat. That's not our job. And so my fear is that if you keep doing this over and over again, it's only a matter of time before you have a tragic, fatal incident. And that is, again, it's not what they're trained for. They're not police officers, and this is not what the military should be used for.
Do you see him reversing this then, Joe? I mean, there is so much pushback.
I think remember, it's not a lot of people. It's like 200 soldiers going to Portland for something like 60 days with a very limited mission of basically protecting federal buildings. So I think he'll do it. I think he'll check the box and say, look, I'm a tough guy. The Democrats will yell and scream, and at the end of the day, we'll move on to the next issue.
Can you give us a sense of where you think the president is at right now when it comes to the Middle East? He's once again welcoming Benjamin Netanyahu to the White House. There is apparently this 21-point plan. Hamas says they haven't received it, but he's saying that Arab leaders are welcoming it. Is he running out of patience with Mr. Netanyahu and the government? I mean, what's his thinking at the moment?
He's in a bind, right? He sees himself as the ultimate deal maker, and he wants to build on the Abraham Accords from 2020. And yet it's going to be very difficult because, on the other hand, he wants to be seen as tough on terrorism. And Americans, even 25 years after 9/11, have really no tolerance for groups like Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis. And so President Trump's going to be in a real tough spot. The only way I can see something happening is if there's a recognition of Palestine, but without Hamas governing it. I don't see Hamas doing that, and I don't see Prime Minister Netanyahu relenting on that. So I don't know. I'm skeptical.
And Joe, where do you see public opinion at the moment, having just come from the US? I know you're here for the week on Gaza. I mean, it is shifting, right? Because I've recently come back from the States, I felt that it was shifting a bit too.
I don't know. I think that we historically have a very strong support of Israel, and I don't think that the Free Palestine sort of protest that we're seeing a lot, I think they backfire. I don't think they do a lot of good. So I don't know, the country, again, it's one of these issues we're very split on.
Okay. Enjoy your week here in London. Good
Thanks,
to have you
Lucy.
with us, Joe. Thank you so much. Around the